So, you're learning Japanese, and you've gotten to a point where you can read. Yay, good job. And probably want to read novels. But if you're like me, you hate novels. So, if you're learning Japanese, or any language for that matter, one of the best things you can do is to read a lot more. Now, there's a lot of different forms of reading material, you can do websites, you can read manga, you can read novel games, social media posts, news, YouTube comments. There's so many different types of things to read. But one of the best things, and one thing that, a lot of people recommend is novels. So, novels not only have dialogue, but they also have descriptions, and you'll build your reading comprehension a lot if you read them. But if you're like me, you hate reading. You despise it. Why do you think I'm studying Japanese? I like manga. I can't read novels. I've always hated them in any language. But that's kind of a problem because, it's best to, read them. Now, in the beginning, when I was reading novels in Japanese, when I started out reading, I have some physical novels in my room, and it was, I could get through some of them in the beginning because it was in Japanese, right? It's whoa, this is cool. I'm reading a book in Japanese. But, after probably the first or second one, that whole, wow factor kind of, wears off, and you actually want to read something that's interesting, but the problem is that novels are not interesting. So, I kind of found a little solution. So, I was thinking, in English, I don't really read books, but one thing I can get myself to read is fanfiction. Now, I don't know about anyone else, but fanfiction's fun. So, in this video, I'm going to be teaching how to read fanfiction in Japanese, and how to get the most out of reading fanfiction in Japanese. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to be introducing a website called Pixiv, which, if you don't know what Pixiv is, you should. I'm kidding. If you don't know what it is, it's a website where people can make artwork, manga, and novels, and some of them are original artworks, and some of them are nijisosaku, which is fan-made works. So we're going to be using this website to read fanfiction. So most Japanese writers will post their fanfictions onto Pixiv, probably 90% of the time. This is where you're going to find them. The other 10% is probably on Twitter or physical books, but this is the easiest and this is the best way, and this is where you're going to find the most content. So, the thing about Pixiv is you don't need to make an account, and there's also there's a website version and there's an app version. I recommend, personally, the browser version because I just feel like it's easier and there's not as many ads as the app. So yeah, and you can also access it both on a computer and a phone. So I just recommend the browser version. If you just go directly to Pixiv, it's going to make you make an account, which you don't need to make one. I mean, you could. I recommend it, but, just for this, you don't need one. So what you're going to do to get to the site is, I'll probably put a link in the description, but you're just going to look up Pixiv Shousetsu. Okay. And then you're going to click the first thing right here. This is what the website looks like. Now, I'm just going to explain, really quick, why do I recommend fanfiction? So, of course, it's more interesting probably, but here's the actual reasons why I recommend it. For one, it's free. If you don't have to pay for buying books and shipping them over here, or, purchasing, different, novel subscription services. It's free to read on Pixiv. So that's one of the first things. The second thing is, you're gonna be more interested in it because, let's say you're really into, a certain anime, right? And then there's a fanfiction based off of it. You're more likely to be interested in that because you already know that you like the thing it's based on. You already know you like the anime, or maybe it's a manga or something. You already have like that sense of like interest in it. So it's a lot easier to get into reading one of these. And to add on that, number 3, since you already know kind of like maybe the characters or maybe the story or the setting of what it's based on, it's so much easier to read. Like if you were reading fully like an original novel from the beginning, you not only have to like figure out, okay, here's the characters, here's kind of what they look like, here's probably what, you know, their personalities are, here's the setting, here's the story. You have to kind of visualize all of those things from nothing. But if you already know it, I mean, all of that's kind of given to you. You just have to figure out what's going on in the story, which is a lot easier. And number 4? The other thing I recommend Pixiv out of like everything and why it's so good is because there's a variety of different lengths of different things. So, you know, you may not want to read something that's like an hour long or even like 30 minutes long, but on Pixiv, they have a whole variety of different lengths. You can find stuff that's 3 minutes, you can find stuff that's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. The whole shazazz. So that's the reason why I recommend it. I've read over like 100 things on here over the past year, and it's so good. I've probably owe all of my Japanese reading comprehension to this website. So I'm going to be explaining now how you can find something and how you can read it. So when you go on here, it's going to show some like here's some stuff that people search. It's going to show some tags. I don't really know what any of these are, but let's just look up something that's really popular. What's something popular recently? What about that one anime? What about Spy Family? I've never actually read Spy Family, but I mean the manga. I've never seen the anime, but you know, I've been seeing it a lot on my Twitter feed, so it's probably popular. So let's just look this up. So you can look it up and it's gonna show like here's what the tag is, here's what it is, and then right here it's gonna show like these right here. When you first look it up though, it's probably gonna show you like the illustration section. Yeah, like right here. You're gonna want to go over here and click what's called shosetsu, and it's gonna bring you to the novel section. Also, I'm probably gonna blur most of this stuff, like the actual text, because I'm pretty sure these people would not want me showing their stuff. So if you would like to see what this looks like, click in the description, go to the actual website and look at it. Okay, so now we're on the shosetsu section. So it's gonna show up here, most recent, oldest, and most popular. Now, you can't really click the most popular unless you have a premium account, which I don't have, and, you know, you don't really need. And also, another thing about this, it's not going to show you R18 works, so you don't have to worry about that. It's not going to show you anything unless you make an account and set your age above 18. It's not going to show you anything, so you don't have to worry, but you might see, like, R15, but, you know, if you see that and you don't want to read it, you just don't read it. Okay, so I have it as most recent, which is what I recommend. You're gonna look up something you like, and it's gonna show a bunch of different novels written by a bunch of different people. Yay! And you have a bunch of them, and you can actually look right here how many there are. There's 704 currently for this tag, so that's crazy. Now, when you look it up, it's gonna show at the very top, it's gonna probably show like what series it's in, like this person's writing this series, and then underneath it is the title. So this work is within this writer's series, which is probably a little confusing. You don't really have to worry about that. You can just look at the title, and then underneath it, it's going to show the person who wrote it, and then it's going to show the tags, and then below that, it's going to show the description, so what it kind of is. And then right here, this is really important, right under here, it's going to show the emoji count, the time, and the likes. Now, why this is important is because if you're beginning, you want to find something that's short. So if you look right here, here's just 4 different ones. This one's 11 minutes, this one's 5 minutes, this one's 5 minutes, and this one's 26 minutes. And I'm pretty sure if I look down here, there might be one that's like also longer. There's a lot of short stuff on here, but there are long stuff sometimes. Let's see. Here's one that's 33 minutes. I've seen one that are like 2 hours, some that are like 4 hours long. Like they have like a whole book series on here that people have written. So, you know, if you want to look for really long stuff, but I recommend getting into really short stuff at first. So, here's one right here that's 5 minutes. It has 83 likes. That seems pretty good. I'll click on to it. And then when you click it, it's going to bring you to page. It's going to bring you to the page. And it's going to show, again, what you saw in the previous page. The like cover, the title, the emoji count, the time, and the description. So, when you scroll down, here's the novel. And this one's pretty short. This one's like 5 minutes, so this is about how long it is. Now, congratulations, you made it this far. Next thing, I'm gonna kind of explain, so how to really read these. I mean, you can read it, you know, you could probably read it like a regular novel, but if you want to get like the most comprehension out of something, you're probably gonna want to like, you know, look up words that you don't know and do different things. So I'm gonna be explaining how to like do this with Anki, sort of like a word mining kind of method that I use. So you're gonna need Anki. If you don't already use Anki, you probably should be. Pretty sure most people know what that is, but if you don't, yeah, look it up. Okay, so I'm just gonna pull up a blank Anki thing right here, and I'll just keep it right here. So I'll just keep it over here. So when you're reading, if you're a beginner, if you're a complete beginner, or even like any level, I would recommend going through this, and every single time you see a word that you don't know, get that sentence. Like go to every single sentence. Like when you're reading, for example, first sentence, second sentence, look up every single word you don't know within that sentence. So like let's take this one for example. Take this first one. Let's say you didn't know, you were a beginner, you couldn't really read maybe this kanji or this kanji. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put it into your cards, put it into your you're gonna want to have like an expression field and like a back, here's what it looks like, and in the back you're gonna have the meanings of the words and the readings of the kanji, and that's all you really need. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna put the sentence up front, put it in the back, add the readings. I have a plugin that does it for me. You might have to do it manually. And then what you're gonna do is just look up every single word. So let's say you didn't even know what this one is. What you're gonna do is Google it. You know, just Google it. That's all you need. You can look at like the Google's definition, but I recommend going to right here, Goo. I really like their dictionary. Okay, it loaded. So we're on Goo. It's gonna show right here like the meaning of it. You know, you can save this, you can copy this. If you see this and you don't really understand the meaning, like, you know, you're that beginner, you can't really even read the definition, you can probably like try to figure it out from like, you know, going to pictures and looking at it, or you can probably find like maybe an English translation definition of it. It's like right here, like recently, lately, or you can go to pictures and try to piece together what it means. I would recommend not relying on English translations, but, you know, pictures might not really help unless it's a noun or a verb or something, but, you know, you can try doing like that. And essentially, you know, read definitions, look at pictures until you understand the word. What you're going to do is you want to do that for every single word you don't know, and you're going to make a Anki card out of it. So make sure you put the full sentence up here, because don't learn words in isolation. You want to learn them in the original sentence. Put the sentence up here, look up every single word you don't know, and then put the definition of the word. So right here. You're going to put the definition of the word, and then maybe some pictures down here, until you know every single word in this sentence right here. And then you want to add it to your deck. and memorize it. You want to do that for every single word you don't know, every single sentence that has a word in it you don't know. So like this next sentence right here, let's say you didn't know like this one. Even if you know like half of it, you want to take the entire sentence and then look up the word you don't know and add it to your Anki deck. And then you're going to do that until you get through the entire thing. The best way to read one of these. Now, it's going to take a long time. Like, even this is only 5 minutes long, and it's, like, pretty short. But if you're going to stop and look up every single word, it's going to take a long time. But I recommend doing that because once you do that, you're starting to build up, like, words that you don't know. And then when you read another novel, you're going to... The amount you're going to look up is going to be less. Like, it's still probably going to take a long time. Like, this 5-minute one, like, I remember when I first did this, I didn't understand anything, and, like, it took me, like, 2 days to get through a 3-minute one that was, like, only 3 minutes in length. It took me, like, 2 days. But then, you know, the next time I read one, I didn't have to look up that many words. And so even though it was, like, probably, like, a 5-minute one, it took me maybe, like, 40 minutes. And then the next time, I had to look up less, so it probably took me only 30 minutes. And now it's gotten to a point where I don't have to look up anything. I pretty much understand, like, a good 95%. I might have to look up something every once in a while. So, that is the best way to get through one of these, and that is probably what I would recommend and how I built up my reading comprehension. Now, one thing I think I missed out in saying is, like, what kind of stuff do they have on here? How do you look up stuff, like, different tags? So, they mostly have, like, pretty much any anime and manga, if it's like somewhat, you know, if it's not that obscure, like they have some pretty obscure stuff on here, but if it's like, you know, something that just came out, there's only probably like 3 readers, they might not have it, but they have pretty much any big title you can think of or any medium title you can think of on here. And you're gonna want to look it up in, like, you're usually a work will be tagged with like the title of it. So like, for example, like I looked up Spy Family. You have this like right here, like the regular one, and then you also have like the Japanese one. Usually people will just tag it in like, you know, the original title name. So if the original title is in English, you probably look it up in English. I just looked it up in Japanese because I didn't know. But yeah, and sometimes people won't tag it, so you'll just have to figure out like, how do people tag that specific series? Like, do they use like abbreviations? Because like a lot of times Japanese like writers will use abbreviations for titles. Like, I don't really know what this specific anime, like what their like sort of thing is, but like, for example, like if you know what Ensemble Stars is, usually it's gonna be like Onstar, so ANSUTA, or like if you play like Twisted Wonderland, it's probably gonna be like the 4-letter thing. They usually have 4-letter abbreviations. I'll put it on the video. I can't really explain it, but you know, a lot of times things will be tagged with that. And if it has like coupling in it, if it has like shipping in it, usually they won't tag it. I don't think they usually tag stuff like that. So if you would like to read something like that, you'll have to probably look for it. Probably look up like the ship name, because usually they won't tag it with like the series. So you'll have to look up like maybe the ship name or something. But that's pretty much it. I really recommend Pixiv. I've probably owe all of my reading comprehension to Pixiv. It was hard to read at first, but now I can read. Yay. And it's a lot better than novels, and I haven't had to spend a single cent on it, so that's really good. So, I should probably also explain how to make an account. So, I'll go to the homepage of Pixiv and see. I personally don't have an account on Pixiv. Like, when I read on a browser on my phone, I am logged into my account, but, you know, the only difference is that you can, like, save stuff, like, you can like stuff, so it'll save it onto your, like, stuff that you've liked, if you would like to do that. Or, hold on a second, let me go to the original Pixiv site. But again, you don't need to do that. Like, again, I don't do it, so if you would like to, I'll probably explain. Also, you want to make sure your site is in Japanese and not the English. I'm pretty sure there is an English version of Pixiv. My browser is in Japanese and my computer is in Japanese, so it's gonna show it in Japanese, but if it's not showing it, there's probably like a thing that's gonna be like language settings, like it'll be like Japanese, English, Korean, Chinese, something like that. You want to set it to Japanese. So let's see, right here. Okay, make an account. Let's make one. So you're just gonna click up here, make an account, the first button, and then there's a bunch of different ways you can use. You have email up here, and then password if you would like to do that, and then right here you have Google, Twitter, the basic stuff. I don't really need to explain it, but I was just gonna explain it if you couldn't really read Japanese. First box is email, second box is password, then you can just click next, and then down here you can use Twitter or Google. I would recommend just using Google. It doesn't really matter. But that's pretty much it. That's Pixiv, and that's Pixiv novel. There's also manga on Pixiv. There's also fan art on Pixiv. You know, you can enjoy it in a variety of different ways. In the next video, I might make another video, I will explain how to use Pixiv, a different service that's also created by Pixiv called Pixiv Comic and Pixiv Novel, which are actually different than what I just explained. And what those two services are, they're different websites, but they're essentially like Pixiv except for actual published works. So actual published manga and actual published novels. So Pixiv will show fan-made stuff or made by like regular artists, and Pixiv Comic and Pixiv Novel, which are two different sites run by Pixiv, show actual published stuff. And I don't really use Pixiv Novel. Again, I don't really read published novels, but I do read quite a lot of like different types of manga, and so I'll explain how to use Pixiv Comic and also maybe Pixiv Novel in the next video. So if you would like to watch that, you know, you could probably check it out. It might not be uploaded. I might not upload it. I don't know, but you know, go study Japanese. Go read novels. Yay! So yeah, go read fanfics. That's all. Goodbye.